European Union gets ready to roll out COVID-19 vaccines across the bloc's 27 nations. 3 UN peacekeepers killed in the Central African Republic. And the death toll from an attack in western Ethiopia rises to 222. Hello and welcome to TeleSUR. I'm Doris Polo in Quito, Ecuador, and this is from the South. The European Union has announced a vaccine rollout across the bloc as several countries were forced back into lockdown by a new strain of COVID-19 believed to be more infectious that has spread from Britain to France, Spain, and even as far as Japan.
Our European vaccination days are a touching moment of unity and a European success story. Very soon we will have more vaccines once they are proven to be safe and effective. And the European Union has secured enough doses of vaccines for our whole population of 450 million people. But we also secured vaccines for neighbors like Iceland or Norway. Vaccination will help to get us our normal lives back gradually. Once enough people have been vaccinated, we can start traveling, meeting our friends and family again, and have normal holidays, which we all long for. But until then, we have to continue being careful. We need to protect ourselves and our loved ones from the virus. Let's stay safe together. Let's make 2021 our year of European recovery and hope.
Spain received its first batch of the Pfizer-BioNTech coronavirus vaccine early on Saturday, as the country is set to start its immunization process. 4.5 million Pfizer shots are expected over the next 12 weeks for some 2.2 million people. The government expects to have between 15 and 20 million of its 47 million population vaccinated by June. In Belgium, the University Hospital of Leuven has received the nation's first shipment of approximately 10,000 COVID-19 vaccines from Pfizer-BioNTech. Residents of 3 nursing homes are among the first to receive the jab.
We received the first 10,000 doses this morning, 9,750 doses to be exact, vaccines from Pfizer-BioNTech. It's a very thorough preparation, and it went very well, as planned. Today we received the vaccine intact, and in compliance, everything was in order. We stored it in our ULT. This is a freezer that can maintain temperatures down to minus 80 degrees Celsius. This is the known temperature at which the vaccine can be stored. At this temperature, they will be stable for months. From the moment we thaw them, they are only usable for 5 days. So it requires strict timing.
Now, Romania's Prime Minister Florin Catu has hailed the arrival of the first set of coronavirus vaccines from Pfizer-BioNTech at a military facility in the capital on Saturday. Residents will begin receiving the vaccine on Sunday.
This is an important moment. We've been waiting for this for a year now, since we heard about this pandemic and the discovery. The delivery and distribution of the vaccine in record time will help limit and eradicate the pandemic in a very short time. Of course, this comes to complete the measures that we already have.
Over to Germany, citizens will begin to receive a COVID-19 vaccine starting Sunday, according to the Minister of Health.
Autumn and winter and next year's Christmas should no longer be dominated by this pandemic. The vaccination against COVID-19 is an offer. It's free of charge and remains voluntary. I know from the feedback that the vaccination centers are ready to go. The vaccination teams are in place. Everyone wants the biggest vaccination campaign in the history of Germany to be a success.
Staying in Germany, police are searching for unidentified gunmen after 4 people were injured in a Berlin shooting in the early hours of Saturday. Armed lawmen were canvassing the area near the headquarters of the Social Democratic Party on foot and by helicopter. A police spokeswoman said the 4 injured were taken to hospital after the altercation that involved several people in the Kreuzberg district. She added that there was no evidence of a political motive. Hundreds of migrants have been left stranded in Bosnia near the town of Bihać after their camp was destroyed by fire earlier this week. The blaze devastated much of the camp that was already harshly criticized by international officials and aid groups for its poor conditions. Authorities have reportedly failed to find new accommodation for the migrants, leaving around 1,000 people stuck in the cold with no facilities or heating and on meager food parcels provided by NGOs.
And we are living like animals, even animal living like better us. So please, I request UNO, IOM, all NGOs to help us, because if they cannot help us, we will die. So please help us.
From 3 days, and there is no anything and no blankets, no better place for sleeping. You know, there is full of snow, and when I think when 15 hours will be snow come, I think he will be fell. There is many problems, and I think we will be dry.
We'll take a short break now. Join us again in a minute. Welcome back. Mexico has received its second dispatch of the Pfizer-BioNTech COVID-19 booster 2 days after launching its immunization campaign. The nearly 43,000 doses arrived in Mexico City and the northern city of Monterrey on Saturday afternoon. The country started to administer the vaccine on Thursday after receiving an initial 3,000 shots.
We are working as health sector and government to be able to protect the Mexican population. We started on the 24th of December, as you all know, and we will continue throughout the year, working intensely for the good of the health of the Mexican population. 42,900 doses are currently arriving.
Puerto Rican salsa singer Tito Rojas, known for his songs El Gallo Salsero and Siempre Seré, died at dawn this Saturday of a suspected heart attack. One of the singer's daughters confirmed his death to the radio station TeleSUR. Rojas' last performance was a virtual one on Christmas Eve via his YouTube channel. Real name Julio Cesar Rojas Lopez, he also sang on the tracks Colejas and Por la Calle del Medio, which are the latest songs by Puerto Rican salsa singer Gilberto Santa Rosa. Rojas released his first album, Mima la Pululera, together with Pedro Conga in 1972. A popular television personality has died suddenly in Guyana. Riaz Hussein passed away on Christmas Eve after complaining of feeling unwell. Hussein became a household name for hosting NTN This Morning, which was usually aired Mondays through Fridays for the past 24 years. His last show was on Thursday morning. The death toll from a Wednesday attack in Ethiopia's Benishangul Gumuz region has risen to 222. The strike occurred in Bulen County in the Metekel zone. The state-appointed Human Rights Commission initially estimated that more than 100 people had been killed. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed called the attack a massacre and has deployed troops to the area. On Friday, the military said it killed 42 men accused of carrying out the onslaught. The Central African Republic's Constitutional Court has rejected appeals by the opposition to have this weekend's presidential and legislative elections postponed. 6 candidates filed appeals calling for the cancellation of the polls, citing insecurity in the country.
The provisions of Articles 36 and 37 of the Constitution of March 30, 2016 to give precedence to constitutional provisions and to reject requests for postponement of the presidential and legislative elections.
Meanwhile, 3 United Nations peacekeepers have been killed in the Central African Republic, according to the Multidimensional Integrated Stabilization Mission, also known as MINUSCA. The incident reportedly occurred as the government and its allies tried to fend off a rebel offensive ahead of Sunday's presidential and legislative polls. The Burundian peacekeepers were said to be killed on Friday by unidentified assailants in Dekoa, about 200 kilometers north of the capital, Bangui. Shifting gears now, Turkey's Defense Minister Hulusi Akar has made a surprise stop in Libya to inspect his country's troops stationed there. Thousands of Turkish troops were deployed to the North African country earlier this year to help the UN-recognized government fend off an offensive by renegade General Khalifa Haftar and his so-called Libyan National Army. The two sides signed a ceasefire agreement in October, but on Friday, Haftar threatened to pull out of the deal if Ankara does not withdraw its forces.
The decisive confrontation has begun to appear for the near future from what our scouts detected from maneuvers and mobilization of the Turkish mercenaries and soldiers near the front line of piling up weapons, equipment, building military bases and operating rooms. Today, we remind the world of our consistent position that there is no peace in the shadow of the colonizer. And in their presence in our land, we will take up arms to make peace with our own hands. With free will, we will make it our army of heroes.
We're taking one last break. Join us in a few. Welcome back. Israel has carried out airstrikes on several sites in the Gaza Strip. The targets included a rocket manufacturing facility as well as training and military posts belonging to Hamas, the militant group ruling Gaza. According to media reports, the strikes caused damage to buildings, but no casualties have been reported. The attacks came less than 24 hours after rockets were fired towards the Israeli coastal city of Ashkelon. Israeli air defenses intercepted them, and while no Palestinian group in Gaza claimed responsibility for the shelling, the incident broke months of cross-border calm. Yemeni citizens of Al-Jamiliya, the most demolished neighborhood in Taiz, lit hundreds of candles on Christmas Day to draw the world's attention to their appeal for an end to the war in their city. The nearly 6 years of clashes between Houthi fighters and a US-backed Saudi Arabia-led coalition has killed more than 230,000 people and caused what the United Nations has described as the world's worst humanitarian crisis.
There are children holding pictures on their martyred fathers and brothers. There are children holding pictures on their martyred mothers. Every place in Taiz is being bombed. Nowhere is safe.
Staying in Yemen, a unity government has been sworn in, closing the curtain on violence and political wrangles in the country's southern provinces. The new administration consists of 24 ministers representing major political forces. All members have taken the oath of office before President Abed Rabu Mansour Hadi in the capital Riyadh. On December 11th, after months of stalemate, a coalition of political parties announced they were set to implement security and military mechanisms under the Riyadh Agreement, which would lead to the formation of this new government.
Today we are facing a new phase that must prevail in brotherhood and association, and to reject division, and directing towards building the state and its institutions, fusing with the people and resolving their concerns, and facing challenges and moving on the path of the future with new Yemen.
Iran is wary of a sinister move by the United States to force payments for the Middle Eastern nation's acquisition of a COVID-19 vaccine through its banks. The U.S. Treasury's Office of Foreign Assets Control initially said it did not have a problem with the transfer to a third country, but later set a condition that the money had to first pass through a U.S. bank. Iranian President Hassan Rouhani accused Washington of attempting to freeze the funds, referencing past events where the Donald Trump administration commandeered his country's monies amidst a wave of sanctions.
We want to transfer money from a country where our money is to buy the vaccine, and this country has accepted. It said later that the money had to first pass through a U.S. bank before being transferred. Who can trust people like you? You have stolen our money everywhere you found it.
In other news, at least 8 climbers have died in Iran, while several others remain missing after an avalanche pushed them down a mountain north of Tehran. Rescue workers are continuing to search for as many as 12 people who went missing after several days of heavy snowfall and a blizzard in the Alborz mountain range. Several roads have been closed due to the bad weather. Tehran lies at the foot of the range, which has several ski resorts and popular mountain trails. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi has offered to hold fresh talks to end a stalemate over new agricultural reforms in his latest push to win over farmers protesting for almost a month against the move. Tens of thousands of farmers have been camping out near several entry points to New Delhi since November 26th against 3 new laws they say will lead to the dismantling of regulated markets.
So many lies are being spread against the new farm laws. Some people are spreading lies amidst the farmers that the minimum support price will be stopped and that the local market will shut down. You can sell your produce anyway and to anyone you like. Wherever you get the right price, you can sell it there. We are ready to discuss every issue of the farmers. We are ready with open heart for a solution.
In Afghanistan, 2 police officers have been killed and 3 others injured after a series of explosions hit the capital, Kabul. According to reports, a magnetic bomb that was attached to a police vehicle detonated, leaving the lawmen dead or seriously injured. The latest attacks came as Taliban and Afghan government negotiators held talks in Qatar. Both sides are working to hammer out a peace deal that could put an end to decades of war. No one has immediately claimed responsibility for the strike.
When the vehicle arrived here, we heard a blast. Half an hour ago, 2 people were inside it. One of them was thrown to the roof of an ice cream shop. The other one was thrown next to the tailoring shop. One man was wounded. I called the ambulance. The ambulance arrived and moved the wounded to the hospital.
On that note, we've come to the end of this news brief. You can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. Don't forget you can join us on social media, Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. For TeleSUR English, I am Doris Polo. Thanks for watching.